which posture am I? It is important to point out that I am not chasing your symptoms, and neither should you. As you go along in this course, you'll notice the routines are not based on the type of pain you're experiencing, but rather the position your body is displaying, hence your posture. The biggest educational point I want to make is linking your symptom to the posture that is causing it. It is your position, not the condition, that we will go after. This is the human design blueprint. With perfect musculoskeletal development and patterning, this is how our postural alignment should look. But hey, life happens, so we're not perfect. Is this perfect alignment? Of course you see something wrong. You wouldn't wonder why your car's tires wear out prematurely if you drove it like this. There is a structural design it must adhere to in order to operate at full potential. And from the postural perspective, so must we. The closer we can get to demonstrating this alignment, the more function we have restored in our musculoskeletal system. Keep him in the back of your mind. I'll refer to this photo in future videos. There are 3 general deviations I often see as a postural therapist. In this course, I will teach you about them and how to determine your posture so you can choose the appropriate sequence. We'll be using your photographs to determine this, but for now, let me introduce you to the postures themselves. Posture A, the anterior tilt. People leading active lifestyles often display this posture, and it's denoted by an anterior pelvic tilt. The anterior tilt is a forward tipping of the pelvis, causing the low back to arch excessively, and it's usually accompanied with rounded shoulders, outward rotated knees, and everted feet. Ambitious personalities who are focused on gathering facts tend to display this posture. Here are a few more examples of people displaying a dominant posture A. Remember what to look for? Can you see how this posture might create low back pain, knee pain, or even shoulder pain? Posture B, the imbalance. This is a more prevalent posture nowadays. It is denoted by an imbalance from left to right, usually accompanied with a rotation. There can be a hip or a shoulder elevation, one arm or leg coming further forward than the other. Can you see how one-sided symptoms may be more prevalent in this posture? Skeptical personalities, like those who want a solution but also doubt that there is one, tend to display this posture. Here are a few more examples of people displaying a dominant posture B. Do you remember what to look for? Posture C, the C curve. A sedentary lifestyle can create a posture like this. It is denoted by the posterior pelvic tilt. A posterior tilt is a backward tipping of the pelvis, and it's often accompanied by the C-curved spine, rounded shoulders, and everted feet. Pessimistic personalities who tend towards the victim mentality often display this posture. Here are a few more examples of people displaying a dominant posture C. Do you remember what to look for? Can you see how hip, back, and shoulder symptoms might be experienced with this position? After covering these 3 generalized postures, you might be thinking that you're a mix between posture B and one of the other postures. And you're most likely right. Nowadays, I see more imbalanced postures than I do a strict A or a strict C. But what I want you to focus on is what stands out the most in your posture. That is where your photos are handy. But wait, don't jump into taking your photos yet. Let's sharpen your postural assessment skills by looking at some more postures. Forgive me, most of the photos are frontal shots because I'm limited to what content I can use. But their value as tools for education is immense. I'll even add lines to help you see what I see. I'll drop a center line right between the heels, a pelvic line horizontally below the waist, a shoulder line, and sometimes leg lines at the hip joint. Remember, Keep the human design blueprint in the back of your mind. I even encourage you to pause the video before I verbally point out what I see. Can you spot the misalignments? What stands out? At first glance, she probably looks pretty aligned from the front and rear. But take a look at her side shot. Do you see the exaggerated low back arch? Let's draw some lines. Now things look a little different. Not only does her anterior pelvic tilt look more pronounced, you can tell she has imbalances too. She seems to be leaning to her right in both front and rear shots. But if you look closely, one side of her pelvis is elevated. Her knees have an inward direction, the left more than the right. Even one shoulder presents itself higher than the other. We can nitpick all day, but remember, let's stick with what stands out. If you choose a posture A routine, you do well here, because what stands out dramatically is the pelvic tilt. What stands out? The waistband on his shorts is crooked, but that won't hide his imbalances from us. Let's draw lines. Did you even need them? Not only is he leaning hard to his right, his left arm is extending out as a counterbalance. When he does his functional tests, which leg do you think he will lift first? His left, because he's leaning so hard on his right already. Most likely, he'll find it more challenging balancing on his left leg. Photos tell a lot. I bet if we had the other side shot, we would see one shoulder move forward of the line and the other shoulder present closer to or behind the line. Why? His body is presenting in a twisted or rotated fashion. There's more, but just from these observations, can you guess what posture he is? Posture B, the imbalance. Pretty simple, right? What stands out? I know this guy is a computer-generated figure, but he is a great example. Do you see the misalignments? He's got the dreaded no-butt disease because his pelvis is so tucked under. It's been there so long that his spine has followed suit and rounded his shoulders, bringing his head forward. Even the muscles on the front side of his chest are atrophied due to lack of recruitment from the misalignment. Do you even need the lines? He probably has trouble touching his toes due to the restriction in his pelvis. He is a textbook posture C. What stands out? You may not catch it at first because this model is seen often on the internet demonstrating, quote, good posture. Unfortunately, she is posing a lot, but misalignments can't hide completely. Let's look at her with the lines. She's got an anterior tilt, definitely, but did you catch some of the imbalances? One shoulder is elevated. One arm comes out further than the other. I bet if we had her other side photo, she would show up with one shoulder on the line and the other off the line. Even her shirt is pulling on one side. She's twisted and trying to hide it. But your photos will be different because you won't be posing. Posture A or B would do all right here. What stands out? I'm sorry I don't have true side shots. Like I said, I'm limited with content. Her feet might look fairly straight, but what about her knees? Where should they be? Look at the height and placement of her hands. With a true side view, she presents with her left shoulder more forward, maybe even her left hip more forward. Let's add lines. Starting to get the picture? Where should her load joints fall? Where do they fall? Do you see a difference between left and right? What stands out most to you? Even though she has imbalances, she might have a pelvic tilt that dominates. But again, the photos will tell. Do you see a well-defined butt? I don't. So what scenario would determine her posture? Then what routine would you choose for her? A posture C or even a B is fine here. What stands out? His feet turn out, his knees turn out. We're seeing the backs of his hands from shoulder rounding. Looks like an active guy, right? Let's draw lines. Now we get a clearer picture. Our athlete definitely has imbalances. Though we might have expected a more pronounced anterior tilt, it's still there. The forward head, rounded shoulders, and everted feet are much more pronounced. So, what do you choose for him? Posture A. What stands out? Finally, 4 complete photos. She is posing, but she can't hide from us. Look at her shoulder height, hand height, and knee direction. Lines, please. If she wasn't posing here, those side shots would be more pronounced, but do you see it? One knee is more internal than the other. One shoulder is higher than the other. And look at how her arms fall on the lines in the side shots. I bet if her hair was behind her ears, we'd see her right ear on the line and her left ear behind the line. She's hiding her rotation imbalance. She's also got a pretty flat butt, though not quite a C curve. Her muscle definition indicates a posterior tilt. So, what posture is she? Either a C or a B would work out nice here. What stands out? You're getting the hang of this. See her feet, knees, hands, and shoulders? Here she is with the lines. Knees are internal, feet everted, one shoulder higher than the other. Right side more forward than the left. Not much of a butt. What would you choose for this posture? If you guessed a C or a B, I would agree. If you also guessed she's the same girl as the previous posture, you'd be correct. She's not posing as much, and we can see the more pronounced rotation and rounded shoulders. Don't pose in your photos, people. Keep your hair behind your ears and stand naturally so you can get a good baseline. What stands out? This is getting easier, isn't it? Even without the lines, you can see her rotation and elevation present itself. Check her hand placement and shoulder height. With lines, it's obvious. Her right knee is more internal than the other. Even from the back, you can see the imbalances. The posture you'd pick is definitely a B. How did you do? Now that you've gotten a better handle on posture assessment, you'll know what to look for in your photos when you take them initially and towards the end of the program. You'll be able to see the changes in your alignment and track your progress. Nothing is more fulfilling than feeling different, then having the visual proof to back it up. We'll go over how to take your photos properly in the next video, but for now, remember these tips for your assessment process. Try not to nitpick over the tiniest detail. It will suck you in and you'll get lost. Stay general and look for the dominant discrepancy. First big thing that jumps out at you. A friend or a family member can give you their helpful input as a second pair of eyes. Remember the personality traits that I described? Do any of those resonate with you? And remember, if all else fails and you just feel stuck, leave your questions or comments below. I'll help you out.